Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Mangrovia. Let's check it out. To set up for the game, each player is going to get either one or two little bowls here. They only get one if it's a 4-player game, but 2 or 3-player game, they will get 2. They're going to get a number of huts that correspond with their color. First player will also start with the first player token, and they will also start with 2 of these cards in their hand. And of course, they're denoted by the numbers there. So second player will have these, third will have that, fourth will have that, fifth will have that as well. They will also at random get 2 of these location cards too. Now, speaking of location cards, you're going to shuffle the deck, deal 3 out, and then the number cards here, you're going to shuffle them and deal 4 out, and they'll be over on the side here. You're going to start off with putting these 2 green little parrots in any one of these 4 sections here. It doesn't really matter. Well, at first you just put it there. It does matter because that just determines where you can build. But anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. But you'll have your starting token here on this little amulet track, and then right here on the round tracker there, the victory point tracker I should say, you'll have your little boat icon right here, and it'll go where the space is provided for it there. You have a little area around here where you have these little you can get those little cardboard chits. There are several of them in the game. You'll just shuffle them up and then deal some around any of the little outlined areas on the board that will surround this totem here. So basically how this game goes is it's simple in a way worker placement. You're going to be using this track here to place 1 on a 4-player game and 2, if it's a 3 or 2-player game, bowls on this board. So going around in player order, someone would go there, someone else would go there. The only thing first player can't do is on their first move, first player may not go here, meaning this spot will let you be first player again for the next round. So to avoid doing that, they say that, if you're first player, you can't place your first bowl there. But if no one else places it and you have a second bowl in the game, you could place your second bowl there. So everyone's going to go around taking turns, placing their bowls on the area. Once everyone has placed a bowl, then the ship will move around the islands here, letting you get all of the actions on this side of the board, and then later on again, some extra actions on the next side of the board. So it's very simple like that. What do each one of these actions mean? Well, let me zoom in on this track, and it's very simple. Here it says you can take any 2 face-up cards and 1 face-down card from the deck. So going over to my decks here, I can choose from any of these 2 decks here, and I can get 2 of any face-up cards, and then the second one I'd get on this top of the deck. So I could pick up this one and this card, and then pick up the card at this top of the deck, and I would add these to my hand, and there is no hand limit to the number of cards you can have. Now once you do that, obviously you would replace those cards out again. Now down here, the other actions that you can take here lets you grab amulets from the bag. Now you can only grab as many amulets as you are on this track, which right now it's 0. I can't grab a single one, but I can, it says, get one of these number 1 amulets. Amulets are something you may need. They could be victory points. They will be victory points at the end of the game, but they're also places that you may need to pay amulets for, especially this area here, and there are some other places on the board as well where you have to pay the amount of amulets listed there in order to build a hut there. Now eventually you can go up on this track. Anytime you build on any circles that have the red circle around them, most of them are generated right out there. I think all of them are actually. So if you were to build in any of those areas out here, that's where you could move up this track. And as you move up the track, you can draw 1 from the bag, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the bag. And here's the bag here. You'll have a bag full of amulets. And by the way, amulets can come in, 2, 3, 4, and 5 values. You just look and pick and get the ones you want. Again, this would be great because there's victory points at the end of the game and gives you ability to build huts on certain places here. And that's what you want to be doing, is building huts in the game. But anyway, I digress. Over here, this action here just lets you get 1 face-up card from the stack, and it could be either one, either or. This one lets you get one face up and one face down. This one lets you two face up or either two face down. This one lets you get one face up and two face down. And now we come back around the board here. This lets you either get a face down card or grab another amulet from the board. This one lets you grab an amulet or build a hut. This one lets you build a hut or do a double hut. What's a double hut? Well, if you look here on the board, there are some areas here that have the icon of a hut, which means you can actually build two huts there. So if I had, let's say, these two 5s here, I could play both of them, and as long as I have also a lot card, a grassland card, I could put 2 huts down. Okay, and I would get the reward listed here in suns, and that's how much I'd move up the track. So that's just a way to get more huts built, is by that. Over here lets you build 2 huts. Here on this back end exit, on top of getting that amulet, next time I can build a hut, or this time I can build a hut and take a face down card. Finally, this one up here lets you move the birds and take the first player token. What do I mean by moving the birds? Well, the birds determine where you can build. So if those birds are, I can build on that double 5 here because the bird was on the grassland. However, if the birds were situated like that or like that, I could not build on a grassland because a bird is not habitating that. So as first player, you also get to determine where you want to build next. Now, you can kind of tell how simple this game is based on what I've just described to you so far. Basically, what you're doing after you go through all these phases is you're taking back your bowls, and then you're going back around again. But to build, like I said, you're going to need to have the lot of land. You'll discard that one, and the exact number. You can't have, like, let's say I have a 6 and a 3, which gives me a 9. Well, that's enough to get this 8 here, so I'll plant one at 8. No, if I want to use it, I have to go to 9. However, I wouldn't be able to build here this round because there are no parrots in the forest area. So basically that's what you're doing, is trying to figure out where you can build the most huts. You're trying to build out your huts. That's how you end the game. But it also matters where, because there's some area majority here as well. There are totems here dictating these rows down here, and 4 totems here dictating these rows going out here to the island. And whoever has a majority in these would score extra bonus points. So again, this game keeps going on until someone places their last hut. After that, you finish out the round, and then you end up do in-game scoring. So let's say that this is what it looked like at the end of the game. And just to give you a little bit of an example here, how you would add up these. What if there was a tie? As you see, I gave you 3 little ties here. This one being 2 and 2, this one being 1, 1, and 1. Well, it's easy to determine who gets the majority here and here. Whoever is closest to the statue would win out in the tie. Now, again, if I did this here, and it was purple closest to the tie, well, purple's not tied yet, so you go one more down. Orange has 2, blue has 2. Orange wins because they are closest to the totem, so they would get those 8 victory points where blue would get 4. And that's what you'd be doing all around the board, is adding up all those victory points. Other victory points that you'll be ordering is over here in this little area, this little stone area here. Depending on the number of huts that are built there, that's going to give you X amount of points. So for instance, here I have 6 huts built here. Well, my orange guy has 3. So 6 times 3 is 18. So I get 18 victory points there. Blue would get 6 times 2, that'd be 12 victory points. Purple, since they only had 1 here, they would only get 6 victory points. So that's a really neat area of where to score. Another area where to score is right down here. Of course, this is majority as well here, with the majority getting, the leader here getting 12 victory points and second place getting 6. Now, in addition to that, you would also add up any amulets that you have left over, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, you know what? Again, I have a friend of mine from Romania. I think he's from Romania. And he has a lot of the same games that I've been reviewing for the past year or so. And so he reached out to me and said, hey, look me up on Board Game Geek and look at my collection and see if there's any games that you may also like that you don't know about. And I'm like, I'm always looking for new games, so let me see. And this was one of them that stood out to me. I was like, you know, I've seen this before. I passed it up when I looked at it just by the cover, sadly. And then, well, maybe looking at a few pictures when point, nah, this game didn't look like for me. But when he had it, I said, you know what, I should give this a second look, and I'm so glad I did. This game is so fun. It's so simple. It's a race game, of course. You're trying to race to build the most huts, but you do want to build up cards, because if you have multiple lot cards, it doesn't matter where those birds are, and if you have multiple numbers, it doesn't matter where you can, because you can play them anywhere you want. Getting more amulets, going up the amulet track is very important. Of course, getting, like I said, where the boon of your victory points happen at the end of the game, which is, it's kind of demoralizing playing the game and like only scoring like 20-something points by the time it's over. You're like, well, that sucked. But then eventually you're just boom, 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 you're cashing in tons of points. And that area control, majority control there, both horizontally and vertically, is really cool, because it forces you to think, man, I really want to play there for a lot of victory points, meaning suns. But I need to get a majority, so I need to play here. Or it's going to be a tie, so if I'm going to play one more, I got to play my last hut here next to the tiki. And of course, you can play outside of the village, basically, in those little circled areas to go up on the amulets. Because to be honest, if you can start pulling tons of amulets from the game, I think that's... I didn't win, but I came pretty close because of my amulets at the end of the game, because I was pulling like 2 or 3 of them at a time and really getting some bonus points. But of course, that's ways where you can move and place more houses. Man, where you place those bowls, it switches up. First you want, I want first player because I want to control those birds, or I want a lot of cards. Eventually you want a place where you can go huts. You're looking at 2 different actions, one on each side, and you're thinking, oh, which one's better? I don't know. And everyone's going for the huts toward the end, but at first everyone's going for cards. There's a great balance about that in the game that I just absolutely love. I'm not really much for area control, which is kind of weird that I really love this game, because there is area control, getting the most around that totem or the most around that little stone area there. I love that. I love that there's a way you can score points, because you're like, man, there's not that many people there. Maybe if I put all my huts around there, I can really score some big points, because that would kill it in there. But 6 times 6, 36 points if you were to, or 9 times 9 if you were to surround it, I guess. No, that'd just be a 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. That'd be 8. But still, that'd be awesome. That'd be some awesome points to get. The possibilities here are endless. And by the way, there's other land pieces that are half and half, which means you got to play 2 lot cards as well as to get those special places there on the board. And once someone's placed a hut, you can't place another hut there. So it makes the game really compact there. And of course, the more players you'll play, I believe, with less huts, I think. But to be honest, this is a really fun game. Very rarely do I like area control games, and I think this is what this one is. But this one really is great. I really love it. It is worth your time. I don't know how, I think it's pretty cheap. You can get these cheap secondhand, I think. So if you look, it looks like the game's, looks like something you would like, then definitely go out and pick it up. It's definitely affordable. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, game on.